Hello, my name is Kent Field, and thank you for tuning into this YouTube channel, The Bible versus Opinions. God bless you in your search for the truth. While all people have opinions on many subjects, including the Bible and religion, not all opinions carry the same weight or value. For example, would you go to a plumber for his advice on brain surgery? Would you go to a mechanic for his advice on heart surgery? The point is, not all opinions carry the same weight or value on a particular subject. That's why I'm not offering you my mere opinion, but Bible answers alone. So here's the challenge. Are you open to learning beyond your current understanding and knowledge of the Bible? If so, then this channel is for you. If these studies have helped you to grow in your understanding of the Bible, or even life itself, please like and subscribe and share this channel with others so that they too may be challenged and grow in their understanding of the Scriptures.
I want to thank everybody for returning tonight after the first night. I went a little long. I have to try to keep my talking down to about a half an hour because I didn't leave room for opening prayers. I didn't leave room for closing prayers. I didn't leave room for singing. Come on in. The water's fine. Come on in and join us. We are continuing our study on church leadership. I also note, listen, if you can't take notes, then I understand it. If you can't, because you have a cast on your hand, on your left hand or your right hand, whichever hand is your reading or writing hand, or because of vision issues, I know that that's a possibility. Unless you can type in Braille as we're going along. But you need to be taking some kind of notes. And if you're recording this, that's fine too. But if you're not taking notes of this class, then that tells me, you, and the Lord something. And that is, you don't intend to share this with anybody else in the future. Because if you intend to share this with somebody in the future, you're getting as much down as you possibly can write. Right? I mean, think about it. How do you think I have any of this material or information? Copious notes. Taking a lot of notes. I'll also apologize because I wish I was a better speaker. I looked at some of my facial mannerisms and goofy looks on my face in the last tape. My wife says, that I wish you should stop making that face. And I said, what face? And I looked at the tape. And because of these glasses, these are trifocals, I can only see by moving my head like this. So sometimes I'm going like this. And I realized I was doing that. I'm going to try not to do that so much so I don't look as silly or be as distracting to the lesson, because I really don't want to get in the way of the material. I want to share the material, convey the material, but not get in the way of the material. Last week we spoke about the way the church is organized in the church today. And I'm talking not just denominations, I'm talking about the Lord's church. And how we have boards of directors and board meetings, and how most of the big financial decisions are made by a few men who are trying to govern things according to how maybe business would do things. And they're trying to be conscientious, and for that we can, and we should, try to praise them. But that doesn't mean that what they're doing, despite their best efforts, is the right way of doing it. So, we need to learn how to be better leaders. But the only way that we can do that, especially if we're already in leadership, is to be willing to relinquish our leadership, if need be. It's not always the necessary thing. One of the things that frightens me the most about teaching this, even in other places, would be if the elders came up to me and said, one of the elders says, I don't think I'm qualified, I think I need to resign. I really don't want to play a part in that unless it's absolutely necessary. Or I'm going to relinquish my leadership in this role or that role within the church. Again, the goal of this lesson is to teach people how to be great leaders in the church. We talked about how we set things up after the corporate structure, and then we hide behind this thing called church autonomy so that no congregation is answerable to anybody else in any congregation. Well, we're barely answerable to anybody within the congregation. Most people don't feel that they're answerable to people within the congregation, and they don't want to be. That leads me to a thing that I wanted to share with you. And I may make it part of my lesson someday in the future. You know, the first century church was in the habit of calling one another brethren and family, because they felt they brothers and sisters. They felt like they were family. And I think about today how the family has broken down to the point where family members don't have anything to do with one another anymore. And I think back in my short 66 years to the times when we had family get-togethers. And sometimes I can remember, I was about 7 years old the first time this happened, where I remember my uncle and my father, brothers, were reared back with their fists drawn and squared off in the living room of my grandmother and grandfather at a little get-together, pool party at the house. And my grandmother jumping in between, Eddie, stop on that! And having a fit. And yet, the next Christmas, we were together. The next Thanksgiving or Easter, we were together. We were still family, even through those kinds of things. My wife talks about how her Uncle Johnny and her dad used to fight about politics and argue at their loving family Thanksgiving get-togethers or their Easter Sunday get-togethers. And you say, you know what, that's stupid. Who needs that? We need that. We need that continuity. That feeling that no matter what anybody says to anybody else, we realize, even if I don't like that guy, I love him because he's still my uncle. I don't like the way I was just treated by my cousin, but she's still my cousin, so I love her. My brother, my sister, don't have much use for them, but you know what? She's my sister. She's my brother. He's my brother, rather. Now today you could say she's my brother, but anyway. This, of course, is well known to anyone who reads the New Testament. I'm going to share this with you. I got off the interweb. But we shouldn't read the church as a family metaphor through the lens of modern-day Western family values, which are pretty weak. Where our high-maintenance grandparents are shuffled off to retirement homes, and annoying siblings are treated as outcasts because we don't want to deal with them anymore. Where parents are ostracized by their kids and their children, the grandchildren, are weaponized against the grandparents so that all of a sudden the grandparents don't have grandchildren anymore. And if you think that you're doing your children a favor by doing that, then you haven't had loving grandparents. And that's a problem for you. And now that's carried on to now your kids. And you're going to pass that on, so they're never going to experience what I experienced with my Nana and Grandpa that taught me so much. And whom I was able to love until the day they died. And they loved me. In the first century, the family unit extended far beyond the nuclear family and was held together by an unconditional bond of commitment and service. So that even if my father fought with his dad over something, when my grandfather needed some help at his house, my dad was there. Simple. Not even a question. You didn't have to like your relatives, but you were expected to love them. Think about that. And it's within that context that Jesus blew open the doors of the home, and welcomed all the believers into the family of brothers and sisters. They created a new focus on family that was stronger than death, stronger than violence, stronger than insults, where they were constantly encouraged to be patient with one another, forbear with one another, and that word means put up with one another. What does this have to do with leadership? Well, because as many people, I'm sure you'll find this hard to believe, but they don't like me. And it's very hard to believe that, but I'm kidding you. But you know what? They should love me. And if you're hard to love, or hard to like, it's okay, I should love you. Because we're supposed to be honoring the Word of God through whom our salvation comes, our truth, our sanctification. Again, sanctify them through thy word, thy truth rather. Thy word is truth. And then in another place he says, neither do I pray for these alone, meaning his apostles, but for those also who will believe on me through their word. That's the rest of us. That they all may be one in us, Father, as I am in you and you are in me, that they may be one in us, so that the world will believe that thou hast sent me. Yeah. But the world's not believing that Jesus was sent. Well, maybe we're not one. The way the Father is one with Jesus. Jesus didn't always understand. When he was on the cross, he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? But nevertheless, not my will. Before that he said it, and then after, your will be done. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. It is finished.
Thanks for being a part of that study segment. I promise you that, Lord willing, there's more to come. With the understanding that the mind can only absorb what the seat can endure, many of these studies have been broken up into a series of bite-sized segments. So be sure to look for the next segment in each Bible study subject, so you won't miss out on any important information. Please like and subscribe if you feel that this lesson's helped you, and God bless you in your search for truth.